Hello everyone, welcome to the CTV News on Calabash TV and on the Wave Radio 94.5. I am Melissa Joseph. The Ministry of Transport has denied that the government has implemented a sudden increase in the driver's learner's permit fees. Executive Assistant to the Minister of Transport, Silas Wilson, during a specially convened press conference, stated that the fees for issuance and renewal of driver's learner's permits have not increased by 100%. Rather, that provision was created by way of a cabinet decision under the former UWP administration. However, then Transport Minister Guy Joseph failed to implement the $150 fee for the issuance and renewal of the permits, which would have been valid for 1 year.
By way of statutory instrument number 117 of 2009, the then minister responsible for transport, Guy Joseph, set the issuance of driver's learner's permits and renewal of driver's learner's permits fees to $150. These permits were valid for 1 year. However, upon publication of this statutory instrument, the then minister and ministry did not implement the statutory instrument in its entirety. Statutory instrument number 78 of 2015 only made changes to the motor vehicle related license fees. No changes were made to the fees related to the issuance of renewal of driver's learner's permits, or for that matter, any other fees in the regulations. It is not the intention of the government to raise any other fees in these regulations. However, all other fees in the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act regulations were compiled as is customary to form statutory instrument number 78 of 2015, which was recently implemented on 1st September. Since it was never the intention of the government to cause any additional increases on the citizens of this country, the Ministry of Infrastructure, Port Services and Transport is therefore reviewing this situation with a view to reconciling the fees according to the intention of the policy of the government of St. Lucia.
Mr. Wilson noted that the clerks at the various offices issuing the permits were instructed to collect the increased fees. He says that's because the 2015 statutory instrument and the 2009 instrument were compiled together and reflected the $150 increase, so the employees were following the published regulation.
The government must collect the fees that are prescribed by law, and this is what we have attempted to do. But as I said earlier, we are reviewing the situation with a view to ensuring that persons do not pay any additional increases in fees.
The ministry, Mr. Wilson stressed, has decided to make an amendment at the soonest to the motor vehicle and road traffic fees regulations to cause driver's learner's permit and renewal to be valid for a 6-month period, and the fee charge will remain at $75. Meantime, the National Association of Driving Schools said it is well aware that the 100% increase in learners' driving permits was decided upon by the former administration, but said it is upset that no prior notice was given for its implementation. The Public Relations Officer Kinson Jean said in a press statement that the association was promised that if the increase is to be implemented, that the association would get ample notice by means of an official letter. This never happened, according to him. Instead, the ministry had instructed the licensed offices to start collecting the increased fees. At that very meeting, according to Jean, the association gave the ministry a recommendation as to how the government can raise revenue through the learner driving sector without having to increase the learner's permit by 100%. The recommendation was that the ministry hires a 4th driving examiner. One driving examiner brings to the ministry $8,000 a month and is only paid less than 1/3 of what is generated, according to Jean. At present, there are 3 examiners employed with the Ministry of Transport. The association said it has written to the ministry on several occasions requesting to meet the now and former permanent secretaries to discuss matters pertaining to the sector. It said the former permanent secretary agreed, but the present official has not responded to any of their correspondence.